Hey guys, this is Jay Calderon with Jay Unboxing here, giving you my personal prediction for the Mauricio Lara versus Josh Warrington 2 encounter. And as always, this is just my personal take. Your prediction can be left down in the comments section below. Would love to hear them all. Little bit of fight info here. This is Mauricio Lara versus Josh Warrington 2, their first fight being an upset of the year candidate as Lara shocked the world by defeating Warrington via ninth round stoppage. This fight will be taking place at the Headingley Rugby League Stadium in Leeds, airing live on DAZN here in the United States, taking place in the featherweight division with no real title on the line, but title implications certainly there for the winner. And this is a great fight. Initially, it was one of those fights where you looked at Warrington effectively just trying to stay busy in a fight that ultimately had to be staged as there was, so much going on with the global pandemic and what have you, that ultimately he just needed to find a decent, reasonably decent opponent in Lara that could keep him busy, but he was expected 100% to win the fight, and yet you have the upset of the year candidate there that really shocked the boxing world. I mean, this was a guy in Warrington who had been coming off some pretty astounding wins and had really cemented himself as one of the best at 126 pounds, and here he was losing to a very unheralded Lara at the time. Now you come back to this return, and both men are basically in an even money fight that really makes it a very difficult fight to pick, which of course is why we're going to get now into the breakdown. Starting with Lara. For Lara to win, I think he needs to keep the pressure on. This should be an obvious one. Lara isn't a technician and he isn't looking to win a boxing match. He needs pressure. Pressure is going to give him the best chance to land his power shots. Pressure gives him the best chance to remind Warrington of his first loss in their first fight, and it makes Warrington more likely to sit and fight. And that doesn't favor the Leeds warrior. Effectively, he has to do what he did in that first encounter. However, to be even more effective, he could use the jab a bit more to help with cutting off the ring and setting up some of that onslaught that ultimately stopped Warrington in the first go-around. I would also say land the right uppercut up the middle. Another shot that can work well for Mauricio is the right uppercut. That guard of Warrington is simply open for the shot, especially when he's looking to step in and engage. Lara, when he's meeting him with fire, threw that right uppercut well, and it set up the left hook quite nicely in their first affair. Of course, make sure you're throwing it from not too far out and timing it correctly, as it does leave you open potentially. Still, Lara seemed to have the beat on the shot and can use it once more for great effect. Finally, look to land the left hook. More than anything else, perhaps, the left hook will be key for Lara. He and Warrington both love to throw the left hook. However, for Lara, it's a much better shot. For Warrington, the issue is that Lara's shot carries more weight, and his chin just doesn't seem to hold up to it very well. Therefore, it makes sense, naturally, for Lara to look to land that shot. He can set it up with jabs, he can look to time Warrington's left hook, he can wait for his moment during exchanges. In any event, that shot will likely lead to whatever success Lara has on the night. Now, for Warrington to win, I think he needs to make sure to not get involved in exchanges. More than anything for Warrington, he needs to pick and choose when he engages, and he needs to make sure it's to his benefit. Effectively, that means not trying to get into too many exchanges. He needs to jab his way out of close quarters. He needs to circle away from that sort of trouble. The conditioning of Warrington will be key to his success, as his ability to lock Lara up on the inside and get away from back and forth will be vital to his chances of victory, and both will require him to be in great shape. I would also say trade power for speed and movement. One way that Warrington could be successful is by taking something off his shots and emphasizing speed and movement. It's clear after the first fight that Warrington isn't likely to land that shot that shuts Lara's lights off. He's never been a big puncher to begin with, so go with the opposite direction. It's the one you're more likely to have success with. Take some power off the shots and make your hands and combinations quicker. This means you don't have to plant as much and you can move a little faster on your feet and score quicker as well as your hands are moving faster. Again, the less Warrington stands and trades, the better. Score and get out of there. And finally, jab, jab, and clinch. One tactical change Warrington can make, unfortunately for us fans, will make the fight more boring, and that is by jabbing and clinching. While it might make Warrington a bit tired at times, as it will take a physical effort out of him, it certainly won't take as much out of him as getting into these sort of wars that Lara will probably win. Therefore, if he can jab and double it at times and follow that up by stepping in and clinching, it neutralizes a lot of the work Lara wants to do. It's a gamble because, again, both will require resilience, stamina, and a lot of conditioning, but it's no more of a gamble than getting into another war of exchanges that ultimately favors the Mexican. Now, while breaking this one down, to be honest, it was hard for me to find a way I see a different outcome than their first fight, ultimately, especially after seeing that first fight. Everything Warrington will need to do goes against his nature. He's not a great boxer and mover. That's certainly not what his intentions are when he gets into the ring. He isn't the best defensively. Soon enough, he's going to need to sit down and fight, probably because he gets caught by something, and that will cause trouble for him. Can he have more success? Absolutely. He can maybe prolong his success by, again, trying to be different tactically and really emphasizing that change in his approach. But ultimately, I think this fight resorts back into a war, and Lara inevitably has similar success from that first encounter. Because eventually, due to his lack of defensive prowess, Warrington will be caught. The rematch rule isn't perfect, but I think it holds true here. Same result, maybe a little faster. Lara keeps pressuring while Warrington looks to box and move, but Lara lands something big, possibly a right hand inside. That forces Warrington to stand and trade. Those trade-offs ultimately lead to the shots that put Warrington down and out around the 7th to 9th round. Kind of in the middle there between the middle frames and the late frames, but if I have to go with it, I'll go with Lara via late fight stoppage. Now, the betting odds, again, are pretty much in the middle here. You have Mauricio Lara as a slight underdog at a plus 120. I think that's a decent line for him because I do see him winning this fight, of course. Warrington's coming in at a minus 165. To me, that's a little high, and again, considering his last two performances where he struggled against a boxer in Kid Galahad and where he struggled against a brawler against Mauricio Lara in his most recent fight, it's difficult to see where he's going to be in terms of his headspace and then just how that fight with Lara impacted him. I think this is a decent time to catch a decent bet on Mauricio Lara here. Again, I'm not saying bet the house by any means, but I could see laying a middle-sized bet to even a little larger on the, in the terms of that kind of middle scale there. I just don't see Warrington winning this fight. Of course, have been wrong before, but if I'm laying a bet down, it's money line on Mauricio Lara. And just to let you guys know for sure that I've been wrong before, my prediction record going into the weekend is 29-10-3 with 11 exact on the year. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you see Lara pulling it off once more? Or can Warrington bounce back and have one of perhaps the biggest wins of his career in the sense that it keeps it alive and going? I'd love to hear all your thoughts, predictions, bets, so on and so forth. Please be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and follow at jcalderon_JOB on Twitter. And you can email me at junboxing@gmail.com. Would love to hear from you there. Also, be sure to check out junboxing.com for schedule, results, betting odds, rankings, and more. And as always, until next time.